Alright, so as you guys probably have noticed, it's been quite a while since my last Advanced F2L video. So today I thought I would just show you guys one of my favorite F2L tricks, and this is a very versatile and underrated F2L trick, more commonly known as the SRS family. So today I'm going to be showing a bunch of really cool applications of this trick that you can use in your own speed cells. Alright, so I'm sure you guys have seen videos like these floating around. So when you have this F2L case, as you can see, it's just a 3-move insert. But when you have it from this angle, instead of rotating like that, you can solve it with wide F, R, wide F prime. So you guys have probably seen a ton of videos on that. But if you have this front right slot open, for this case, if this slot is open, instead of doing fat F, R, fat F prime, you can use S, R, S prime. Now you might be saying, okay, that's really stupid, why would you do that? And yeah, from this angle, I do actually use the fat F alg. But where this algorithm becomes useful is for the front slot, because when you see you have this F2L case, instead of rotating, if you try and do the same alg, the fat F alg, you end up doing something like this. And in my opinion, even though some people have managed to make this work, I'm really not comfortable with the finger tricks myself, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would also find this alg inconsistent. So from this case, if the back slot is open, you can solve it with S, R prime, S prime. There's also another case, which is this case, which I will talk more about later in the video. Alright, so firstly, we're going to take a look at some applications of this trick. Obviously, you don't want to use this by itself. So, for example, for this F2L case, once again, instead of rotating like that, you just pair it up intuitively with R prime, U, R, and then insert like so. Once again, just pair it up like this, and then do S, R prime, S prime. Doing it fast, look something like that. And then this is the next case. So you have this edge and this corner. Usually you would either do a U2 and then do something like that, or most people would just rotate and solve it into the back. But from this case, if the back slot is open, you can pair it out with 3 moves: R, U, R prime, and that sets it up to the S move insert. So S, R prime, S prime. And doing it fast will look something like that. Alright, and this is the next case. So we have this F2L case, but the corner is all the way at the back. So from this angle, what you can do is just do R, U prime, R prime. And as you can see, you have this F2L case, and then you just do the S move insert again. So slowly, R, U prime, R prime, and then another U prime, and then just insert this case. And doing it fast will look something like this. And this alg can also be applied for this case, which I know some people use, but I personally don't like this trick. But for those of you who are curious, from this case, you can solve it with R, U2, R prime, and then you just insert it like so. But personally, I don't really like this trick. I just use the standard, like a sledge algorithm or something. But I know some people like this trick, so I'm just going to include it in the video. So for this case, R, U2, R prime, S, R prime, S prime. And doing it fast will look like that. Alright, next up, we have this F2L case, which I actually showed before on my channel. So for this case, once again, most people either do the sledgehammer alg, or they rotate like that to solve this pair. But if this edge is at the back, a really cool trick I like to do is R, U prime, R prime. And there we go, just insert this pair as per normal. And doing it fast will look something like this. And then another algorithm which is really cool is for this F2L case in the back. So you have this edge in the back slot, and then this corner here. Once again, all you have to do is to pair it up, and you do that with R prime, U2, R. And there we go, just insert it with S, R prime, S prime. And doing it fast will look something like this. Alright, so remember how just now I said that I would show a new trick later in the video? So we're gonna get to that now. So when you have this corner and this edge, so you can see you can pair it up with an R move. So if this in the right side, this corner and this edge, most people are paired up with R prime, U, R, and then they will just rotate and insert this. But you can use pretty much the same alg. So instead of S, R prime, S prime, you do S, R, S prime. So you place the R prime with an R. So you do S to pair it up, S to pair it up, and then R, S prime to fix the cross piece. Of course, you can use this algorithm by itself, like that, but obviously that's not all you want to be doing with this alg. There are a bunch of really cool applications as well. Alright, so first of all, we have this F2L case. Alright, so remember just now I showed you guys that for this edge and this corner, you can pair it up with R, U, R prime, S, R prime, S prime, right? But then now we're going to take this corner and we're gonna put the corner all the way at the back, and that's what this F2L case is. So obviously you can't use the same alg, but you can still solve this case rotationless. Just do a U prime and then insert this corner into the back. So you do R prime U R, and that has inserted this corner into the back, and then as you can see we have this case. So SRS prime to solve it, and doing it fast will look something like that. Alright, and this is the next case. So it's this F2L case in the back. So just now I showed you guys how to solve it when it's like this. So when it's like this, as I showed earlier in the video, you pair it up with R prime U to R, and then you insert it. But in this F2L case, we're going to be taking a look at the corner when the corner is twisted like that. So now the corner is facing the back. So obviously you can't use the same alg. So for this case, what you should do instead is hold it at this angle and do R prime U prime R U, and that pairs up to this F2L case, and insert with SRS prime, and doing it fast will look something like that. Alright, and this is also another application, so it's for this F2L case. So usually most people will solve it with F reverse sexy F prime, and then they would insert it like that. But if you have this pair and the back like so, you can insert this white corner with R prime U R, and then do a U move, and once again we have set it up to this F2L case with SRS prime, and doing it fast will look something like that. So as you can see, there are really a lot of F2L tricks that you can set up to either this case with SRS prime, or you can set it up to this case with SR prime S prime. So those are a bunch of algorithms to solve the front slot. If you guys found this video useful thus far, do consider liking and subscribing, it really helps me out. So now we're going to transition a bit, and instead of solving the front right slot, we're going to be solving the back right slot. Just keep in mind, remember how whenever we solved the front right slot with one of these S-move algs, the back right slot had to be unsolved? So it's going to be the exact same thing in this case. So now when you use any of these algorithms to solve the back right slot, for example you're using this algorithm, which I'll show later, you have to make sure that the front right slot is open. So then you can use these S-move algs to solve the back slot. But that's usually fine because then you have your front right slot last, which is usually a lot better for look ahead. Okay, so just remember how this F2L case could have been solved with SRS prime, right? So now it's the same thing for the back right slot. As you can see, this corner and this edge, but it's SR prime S prime instead to solve it into the back slot. So these two pieces, same as just now, but in the back right slot this time, and you can solve it like that. So the first application of this would be for this F2L case. So this corner and this edge and this corner, instead of rotating like that, just pair it up. From this angle, just do a U move and then insert this corner here. And then you just have this case with SR prime S prime. And doing it fast will look something like that. It's a really quick F2L trick. So there's another trick that you can also use. So it's basically this exact same case, but this time the corner is over there. So now instead of inserting with RU prime R prime, insert this corner here with RU to R prime, and then you have the same F2L case. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys an alternate alg for this F2L case. So this is a little bit off topic, but it's a really cool alg that I discovered like an hour ago. So for this case, as I showed earlier, RU to R prime, SR prime S prime to solve it. But that only works if the front right slot is open. So instead, what if, wait, let me just set this up. Okay, so now it's the exact same case, but instead of the front right slot being open, the front left slot is open. So from this angle, what you can do instead is put the corner here and do F. You can see that pairs it up, and then U prime, S, R, white, F prime. So this isn't really part of the SRS family, but it's just a really cool trick which I found and I thought I would show you guys. So this F2L case will look like this. So it's also really fast, and instead of needing the front right slot, you need the front left slot. So if you ever encounter this situation, you have two algs to choose from depending on which slot is open. Alright, and now we have this F2L case, which is actually the case that's in the thumbnail of this video. So for this F2L case, once again, with the front right slot open, in order to solve this case into the back, it's the same thing. So you insert this corner over here with R, U prime, R prime. And then you do a U prime to move this edge here, and that sets up to this F2L case. And then you just insert it like so. Alright, and doing it fast will look like that. So this is a really cool F2L trick, which I thought I would share with you guys. Now I also know that this trick, which is SR2 S prime, but I'm not really going to talk about that in today's video. So anyways, I hope you guys found this video on the SRS family useful, and I hope you guys can implement these tricks into your speed solves as well. these are some really cool tricks which I think are pretty underrated. If you guys like this video or found it useful, please consider supporting me by using discount code mcuberzz at speedcubeshop.com. This really helps to support my videos. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.